Hello and welcome to Creativity TV. On today's show, I'm joined by the lovely docrafts designer Jo Austin. Hi Jo.
Hi Emma.
What are you going to show us today?
I've got a fantastic few techniques up my sleeve today.
Oh, fantastic.
So what I'm going to show you today is this paper piecing technique, and I've got a nice inky technique, and I've got some painting techniques as well.
Beautiful. So tell me, what is paper piecing? It's paper piecing, not paper piercing, isn't it?
I can say it's paper piecing. Paper piecing is when you actually stamp out onto a pattern paper, and then you cut out that pattern paper and stick it over your image, like this one here. It just saves having to colour your image in. So if you're not very good at colouring, or there's certain areas that you're a little bit unsure about, just means that you can just add a little bit of colour without worrying about it.
Fantastic.
Paper piercing, which is the other thing that you asked about, is this little technique that's just around the edge here, which is where you actually cut your pattern, and then you take a single needle tool and you'll actually prick holes into there. That's piercing, and this one's piecing.
Right, okay, I'm with you. Okay.
There we go. So the first thing that I'm going to do is just do my little inky background for the centre of my card. So I'm going to take some blue ink, and I'm going to take these fantastic Boofle stamps.
These are gorgeous, aren't they?
I love these. I always try and get slightly more out. You see mine are just falling apart at the bottom. I try and get slightly more out of my stamp set if I can. So this greeting that was down at the bottom, it said, "All I want for Christmas."
Right.
I actually cut it up because I'm like that. I'm a little bit of a vandal. So I can then get two different stamps out of that one, but it also means that I can change it if I want, and I can just have "For Christmas."
Yes.
Or I could have "All I want for Christmas" and pop it back together.
Okay.
Okay, so there's my little one there. But what I'm going to use is this little snowflake section just here. And I'm going to pop that onto my small block, like so. I'm going to take my blue ink, and then all I'm going to do is just stamp the snowflakes just randomly onto my piece of card. Don't be afraid to go over the edge. The lovely technique that I like to use is just picking up my ink on my baby wipe, take off your excess onto your glass mat, and then we can just rub around.
I've seen you do this technique on a previous episode of Creativity TV, and I wasn't aware of this technique actually, and I have tried it in my card making. It's much easier to do it like that, isn't it?
It's a lot easier. I know you can get applicators. I won't say that you can't. You can get applicators or makeup sponges and do exactly the same thing with that. But for me, this is a lot more seamless than using something that's extra to my finger.
And do you just use a dry baby wipe?
Dry baby wipe. If it's a wet baby wipe, which I've got here, because this is what I use obviously to clean my glass mat when I finish.
Right, okay.
If it's a wet baby wipe, you haven't got a dry one, just basically pop it around your finger at the same time, squeeze out as much liquid as you can, and then just rub it on the back of your hand.
Right,
until you get that area there, just needs to be a little bit dry.
Right, okay.
And then it will work exactly the same.
Right, okay.
Okay, so you can just clean off your mat. And that's, again, the beauty of the glass mat, really.
Okay.
Just trying to get that off of there. Now, when we come to do the second section, that little bit's complete. We're going to do the background section now. So for this one, I just want some pearly paint. So I've used the docrafts Artiste acrylic paint, and it's the pearl medium I'm wanting. It's got a nice pearly finish to it.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
And we're going to create a mother of pearl type of background.
Fantastic.
So again, I'm just going to squish just a little tiny bit onto my mat. I haven't used a palette for this, which is what I would generally use when I'm using painting, because I need to spread it out.
Right, okay.
Okay, and then I'm just going to take the cellophane wrapper. So this could be off a packet of cards. It's a nice crinkly wrapper you get
I like
on
that.
packaging.
You're using up your packaging.
Yeah, so no wastage. Crinkle it up.
Yeah.
So you get a nice lot of creases in there, and then all I'm going to do is just dab it and spread that section around. Okay, take off your excess again and pick up a little bit more, and then we're just going to dab it onto your card. Now it's going on really thinly, which means it's going to take absolutely no time to dry at all.
That's good.
Okay, so again, just add as much or as little as you want on there. And what this is actually going to do, it's going to do a repelling technique. It's actually going to take the ink, but we're not going to be able to ink up where this pearly paint is. So we're going to have little white sections and we're going to have little blue sections. Okay, so we're going to take, again, a little bit of blue ink.
Yep.
Take off your excess. This is now dry completely.
Wow,
because it's gone on really quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and then all we need to do, just to make sure it is dry, is just dab it over with your baby wipe, and any wet little sections will just come off. And then all we need to do is just rub over with your ink. You can see there, the shine's still staying where it is.
This is a great technique just to, if you had a blank card and you just wanted to do the whole background, wouldn't you?
That's it. Yeah,
curly background.
Yeah, it creates a lovely background. And then all we need to do is just take your baby wipe, and again, it's got no ink on, but what we're going to do is just buff it off. And you can see there, you've got that nice pearly finish.
Beautiful.
Okay, so that now can get ready and get put onto our card. So I've already done my piercing.
Yeah.
I was going to say piecing then. Or my piercing just around the edge. So I've just cut it with obviously one of the X-cut dies.
Yep.
This is the scallop oval. And then I've got my normal oval in the centre. And then this is going to go onto our card blank. To put it onto our card blank, I also need to cut this in half. So we're going to go from the bottom in the centre to the top. And just cut it straight down the middle. And then I'm going to get you doing a little bit of crafting, Emma, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay.
Just using the fine end of your pen, because obviously I'm just using the Paper Mania pens. You've got two ends, brush marker and then your fine end. Just using the fine end, just draw a couple of little lines just around the outside edge of that one for me.
Right, okay.
And then we can layer this one up as well. This one will go exactly the same, and then you can do this one for me as well.
It doesn't have to be really, really neat, does it?
Not neat. I try and get it as wonky as I can, because then if you try and do it really
that's
straight,
how I do my scrapbooking, actually. I try, if I do go around the picture or something, it looks really good like
wavy.
that. Yeah.
Well, I do it because I'm not very good at drawing straight lines.
Oh, you can get away with it then.
Yeah,
can't
if you're
you?
not very good at drawing straight lines, try and do it creatively wonky is my new, that's my phrase. Creatively wonky.
Okay.
Okay, so for the paper piecing, if I just take this white section here, I can show you what we need to do. We need to take the Boothful stamp, and basically what I'm going to do is just paper piece his Wellingtons and his scarf up there. So I'm going to pop him onto my block, and then I'm going to take a permanent ink, and just because I want the scarf section, all I'm going to do is just ink it up, and I'm going to stamp it onto a piece of pattern paper. So I've just done it on white, just to show you, obviously, what it's going to look like.
It's so handy doing it on the clear blocks now, isn't it? Having these kind of stamps, you can see exactly where you're stamping.
So you can see exactly where you're going, so you know that it will fit exactly where you want it to be. And then you can see there, we've got his little scarf shape. Now what we would do when we cut that out is cut it out, but cut off the black outline. So it's going to fit inside the stamped image.
Right, okay.
Okay. So here's one that I did earlier. And I've just watercoloured him up a little bit, so I've used my watercolour pencils.
Fantastic.
And there's his scarf. And then I've also done some for the little robin. And I've got all my little sections here, all ready to go. Okay, we've also got his Wellingtons. So again, different little bits and pieces. You can use whatever colours you want to use. And then just to stick this on, I just use double-sided. You can use a wet glue, if that's what you want to use. But just double-sided. And all I'm going to do, you just pop those pieces on.
That's a great idea. I didn't think about this because I always think, oh, I'm going to have to watercolour or I'm going to have to ink it. Or
yeah. Okay, and then for his hat, what I'm going to use, again, is the sticky dots roller that I'm using. And I'm using that for a specific reason, because I can then put it onto my image. I can lay this section over the top. And then if I've got any excess, all I need to do is just give it a little rub. And that will get rid of the rest of the adhesive. So I'm not using a wet glue for this one because I've got really fine sections. And I don't want to interrupt obviously what I'm doing just there.
Doesn't that look good?
Okay, so his scarf is the next one. So a little bit on there. And again, that's just going to sit just inside the image there. Okay, so he's now done. All we need to do now is his little robins. So I've stamped 4 little robins.
Oh, they're cute.
These are so cute. So again, if you wanted to create a background with this one, you don't need any additional background paper. Just stamp the little robins and the snowflakes, and you've got a nice little background design as well, which I think is really great about the collections of stamps that docrafts actually bring out, is the fact that everything works together absolutely perfectly. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the Boothful out so I can get popping my card together. And now you've done that absolutely perfectly,
Is that
Anna.
okay?
That's lovely. And I'm going to get you just to cut me a couple of those little robins out. So I'm going to cut out the Boothful, and what I'm going to do is just leave a little white border all the way around. If you can't cut out perfectly, this is a great way of cutting out. Now, paper piecing, obviously we've done it with decorative paper, so you can use your paper that you've got in your stash at home. These Boothful papers, the patterns on them are really small, so they actually go really well with the images that we've got here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paper piece just with my Boothful design again. So I've cut out an extra little section, and I'm going to take his nose out. I know it sounds really awful, but just his little nose section just there. And again, just cut it inside those black lines. There we go. And then pop it into your hand and just shape it a little bit. So we see that we're just making it slightly rounder. So we're just going to do again a little bit of a decoupage type of element on here. A couple of little foam pads.
I think you showed that on a previous episode actually on Creativity TV, and that's the technique I picked up when I was doing decoupage.
Yeah, I would say it's a nice easy way as well. So if you've got the stamps, the Boofle stamps in particular are really easy to decoupage, and again it gives your stamps in your card making a completely different look. And then that's just going to sit straight on the top of our little Boofle just there, and then we can put the rest of our card together. So first things first, we're going to put the background paper on. So I'm using the tartan, and again it's out of the Boofle pack. Little bit of adhesive on the back. How are you going there, Emma?
Oh, I'm okay.
Are you managing?
I don't know if I'm going to live up to your expectations. I just saw how easy you cut everything out then.
That's it. Well, the secret is to actually turn the paper and not turn your scissors.
Right, okay.
Okay. And then we've got 2 little strips of blue. These are going to go across the top. On my sample card, I've actually scalloped it. But if you want to just leave it straight, you can. You don't have to scallop it. So I'm going to leave a little green border at the top. And I'm just going to trim that down level with the edges of the paper. Again at the bottom we're going to leave a little green border. You can just trim that down so it's level.
I love these papers because they are traditional,
they
aren't
are.
And which is so nice because you can get so many modern Christmas papers now.
That's it. I love traditional colours at Christmas. I like contemporary as well, but it depends what sort of mood I'm in, really.
Yeah.
And who I'm sending it to. Obviously, I wouldn't send a traditional one to a younger person necessarily. I would use a contemporary colour, so the lilacs and the pale blues. But I've got both of it combined on this one. So I've got the pale blue with the ink and the inking technique.
I was going to say, this works really well together, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm saying then we've got the traditional as well. And just having that little spot of white, top and bottom, it just encases that image completely. And then the little circle section that we've got in the middle, the one that we stamped, that's just going to sit top and bottom, nice and even. Boofle can then just have some foam pad on the back. So I'm just going to use a little strip so I can shape him just a little tiny bit easier. And by shaping him, I just mean I'm going to just curl the edges just with my thumbs, just so it hides that foam tape a little bit more, so it's slightly rounded. What I've just done there is, just while we've been talking, is I've stamped the All I Want for Christmas just on a little tag. Now this is actually the X-cut nesting tags and dies that we had. So I've stamped it into the middle of there, and then I've just inked around it again with the pale blue ink just to bring everything together. The little robins are now done. So again,
I'm not sure if you needed all 4, but
that's fine.
I have fun cutting them out.
So again, we're just going to shape them just by giving them a little wiggle just in between your thumbs. And these are just going to sit onto your card.
You just use 3D foam pads to give it that...
Just to lift it a little bit.
Look,
but then it just enables us to actually shape it a little bit so it looks slightly more dimensional. So we're just going to put one up there, and I will use all 4, I think.
Oh, will
you?
Yeah. I think I'm going to do this for my little girls, actually, do something like this.
Yeah, they can actually build up the seams as well.
Yeah.
So just doing sort of the inky techniques, again, they're getting nice and messy, which children love to do.
Yeah.
But they're also being creative and using stamps and things like that. Yeah. Being able to do the piecing, the paper piecing as well. So we'll just pop this little one down here.
That's beautiful.
There you go. And there's your little card.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Now you can get the instructions for Jo's cards on how to make it. So as well as watching Creativity TV, there is also the project section in the Creativity Club, and you'll find all the step-by-steps there. So make sure you go and pop over and download them today. I just wanted to show you as well, Creativity Club member Naomi Van Gien, she sent us this lovely card. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's an easel card. And she made this card and sent it to us to say thank you for our Do Crafts Club Day. I don't know if you remember, but a few months ago we had our Creativity Club Day, and it was brilliant, wasn't it? It was lovely. Yes, we met so many wonderful people. It was an exclusive event for Creativity Club members only, and we are going to be doing another one, which I'm really excited about. But she sent us in this card, and I just want to say thank you very much for sending this in. It's beautiful. It's lovely.
Beautiful colours.
Well, I think that's it for today. Thank you so much, Jo. Love this card. I'm going to actually take these and use them for my... Yeah. That's great.
Use them for inspiration.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Happy crafting.